Talle Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Who is his father? Who is the father of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati? Does anyone know? No?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Very good. Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Okay. He is also coming in the Acharya Parampara. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Okay. So how many of you have completed the Vaishnava culture course in this batch? The 6 sessions on Vaishnava culture course and the 10 sessions on Dashavatar. Yes. You can raise your digital hand. Snigdha. Okay. Snigdha Mataji. 6 sessions on Vaishnava culture and 10 sessions on Dashavatar. All the 10. Only one. Only one person completed all these sessions. Prafulla Mataji, yes, you were there. Who else? What about the co-host? You also finished, no? Ajay Prabhu, Meenakshi Mataji, Sudha Mataji, did you finish?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Just raise your digital hand, Mataji, if you finished.
Okay.
I just want to see, take a screenshot. Yes, who else? What about Ajay Prabhu? Sudha Mataji, no?
No, Mataji, I have not finished it.
Okay, you didn't finish. Only 3. Snigdha Mataji, Prafulla Mataji and Meenakshi Mataji. That's it. What about others? You all are new? Oh, there's only 3 of them who completed the level 1 then. The session 1. Okay. Yeah, Mataji, can you take a screenshot and send it to me? These 3 lines. 3. Meenakshi Mataji. Or
Yes,
Krupa
Mataji.
Mataji join.
Yeah,
just take a screenshot. Snigdha, Bishit, Prafulla, Patra, Meenakshi, Kripa, Vivek, Kirodian, then Lipsa. Lipsa Mataji also completed. And you send it to me, okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Hi Krishna everyone. Okay, yeah. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that's the Acharya series continuing. Then Wednesdays, last 2 Wednesdays I could not take, but yes. Okay, Kripa Mataji didn't complete it, but it's okay. Yeah, anyway, we'll take it. We'll take turns and we'll complete. So here it is said about the pranam mantra, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Budra Srimade Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati in the Namine. I offer my respectful obeisance to His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is very dear to Krishna, having taken shelter at His lotus feet. Then it is said, Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitya Kripa Bhatye Krishna Sambandha Vijnaya Vijnana Dhaine Prabhave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Dasa. That is another name of Saraswati, who is favored by Srimati Radharani and who is the ocean of transcendental mercy and deliver the signs of Krishna. Actually, Siddhanta Saraswati had another name. Does anyone know? His parents gave him another name. His parents was Bhaktivinoda Thakur, yes, and Bhagavati Devi. So they gave him another name called Bimla Prasad. Okay, since he was in Jagannath Puri at that time when he was born, and Bimla Devi is the Mother Parvati there. Any food, I mean, the bhog offered to Jagannath will be given to, after offering to Jagannath, will be given to Bimla Devi, that is Mother Parvati, and then come as Mahaprasad. Okay, so these are some of the Prana mantras his parents have given. So you can see Bhaktivinoda Thakur here. He had 10 children and Bhagavati Devi. So this is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. While working to reform the Gaudiya Vaishnavism in India, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed to Lord Chaitanya, "Your teaching have been much depreciated. It is not in my power to restore them." So he prayed for a son to help him preaching. He asked for a ray of Vishnu, ray of hope, or ray of Vishnu. He's like, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is like, I can't do it alone. I want somebody who can help me in this mission. And hence his son was born. So he prayed. And on February 6, 1876, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was born to Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jagannath Puri. And Vaishnavas considered him to answer his father's prayers. He was born with umbilical cord wrapped around his neck and draped across his chest like a sacred thread worn by Brahmanas. So it was not only around the neck, it was also like this, like a Brahman thread. His parents gave him the name Bimla Prasad. So Prasad means mercy or Prasadam, and then Bimla Devi is Mother Parvati. So Bimla Prasad was his name, and his father was a very great magistrate. And you can see Radha Yatra was happening. There's a nice pastime. What happened when he was 6 months old? What happened? The Radha was going near the house of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bimla Prasad was 6 months old at that time. So what happened? The cart stopped. For 3 days it stopped and it didn't move. Elephants came and drove the cart. Jagannath Puri Radha Yatra is so famous, so huge Radha. You can't pull without the mercy of Jagannath. So many elephants came and pulled. It didn't move. And then what happened? 3 days it stayed. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife, Bhagavati Devi, took this baby boy and came, and then a garland fell. You can see the garland fell from the body of Jagannath to Bhakti Siddhanta Bimla Prasad, and Bimla Prasad tried to touch the feet of Jagannath. And then immediately when the garland fell, everyone is like, Jai Jagannath, and then Bimla Devi got down. Immediately Jagannath started, the Radha started going. So everyone came to know that this is not a normal kid. So this is, in fact, Krishna's mercy. One day when Bimla Prasad was still a child, what happened? There was a ripe mango cut, in April month and also the season. And then the Vaishnavas don't take anything without offering to Krishna. They put tulsi leaf and offer to Krishna, then take it as prasad, right? But then he was a kid, he didn't know. So the mangoes were cut, ready to be offered to Krishna. He didn't know. Accidentally, he went and took a mango and ate. And his father is like, what did you do? You did offense to mangoes. So from that day, he took a vow that he'll never take mangoes in his life, and he followed it throughout his life. What about us? We'll take vows like anything. In minutes, our New Year resolutions, everything gets changed. Oh, tomorrow say I won't do this. Tomorrow say I'll chant all my rounds. I'll get up in Brahma Muhurta and chant my rounds, and then you'll feel like sleeping again and again. And then next day onwards, everything is gone. So that's how our vow was. But then he was very strong. Even if his disciples offer mango to Krishna and then give him, we don't take, because he's like, I was an offender to the mangoes long back in my childhood days, so I'll never take mango. And he was a great scholar. In 6 years, the father gave him a Kurma deity to worship, and 7 years he memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita. Just imagine, 7-year-old, the whole 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, just imagine his intelligence. And could even explain some verses. His father then began training him in proofreading and all that, the magazine called as Sajjana Toshni. And then he visited a lot of holy places and learned from the Panditas. At the age of 10, he was attending the missionary school, and he was initiated by his father, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Narsimha Dev Mantra.
And then Vimla Prasad was reading lot of books. In fact, in all the different classes of the teachers, he was reading different Vaishnava books. But he was very intelligent. He could solve the problems of all the classes. And 16-year-old, he took a vow to be celibate, in the sense to be a brahmachari, and did that. And in 1893, he joined the college, but then he dropped after 2 years. But then he was a great scholar. He knew a lot of Sanskrit verses and so many. So this is his guru. So his guru is Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. Okay. So then what happened to him, that he continued for 10 years. He was working, but then the king granted him pension throughout his life, and he stopped working. And at 26-year-old, his father guided him. The father is like, I won't initiate you. You take initiation from Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. And then he took initiation from him. And that was also a great big story. What happened? Gaura Kishora Das Babaji was illiterate. He couldn't even put his own signature. So illiterate that he told, I'll never initiate anyone. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, on the other hand, was a great scholar, so he didn't want to initiate. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati always approached Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, please initiate me, please initiate me. And finally, what happened? He said that I have to ask Gauranga, I can't initiate you. Then finally he initiated him, because he is told, if you don't initiate me, I'm going to commit suicide, so something like that. And then he initiated this one, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, okay, and took him as the disciple. And then he took a vow to chant the Mahamantra 1 billion times. So 10 years almost, he was residing near the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya in Mayapur, and then he was chanting day and night. And also he took cooked rice once in a day, might be in an earthen pot. It's all austere, okay? We can't copy, nothing to be anukaran, it's anucharan. We have to follow the footsteps. We should not copy great souls, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is not a normal person. He's an associate of the Lord. He's a manjari. He slept on the ground, and whenever the rainwater leaked through the grass ceiling, he just had an umbrella and was sitting there and chanting. And then what happened? For 10 years, he did a lot of tapasya, and then he started to preach his mission. Okay, so he was following the teachings of his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then he wrote a lot of books, and he was following the footsteps of the Goswamis. And later on, he preached different parts of the Bengal, and also he had this established the Bhagavad Press, so that all the books can be published. Okay, and also he says this is Brihat Mridanga. The books are Brihat Mridanga. The small Mridangas. What is actually Mridanga of Krishna? Like the Mridanga, whatever we use, no, Mridanga Kartal. Whose expansion is that? I mean, it is said the Mridanga should be not be kept on the floor. You should not keep the Kartal on the floor. Why? So Mridanga is the expansion of someone. Yeah, Kushal Prabhu, it's Balram. Very good. Yes, it's Balram. Balram is serving the Lord in all the 5 rasas. Balram serves. How does Balram serves as Shantaras? As Mridanga, as Krishna's flute and peacock feather, and everything is Balram. What about Dasyaras? Balram serves Krishna in Dasyaras. Balram massages Krishna's lotus feet. No, did you see the picture in Govardhan and all where they go? Sheshanag is in Shantaras. Then Sakya, they become friends as cowherd boyfriends all together. Valsalya, Balram acts as an elder brother protecting Krishna. And Madhurya, he become one of them gopis and be in the rasa dance of Krishna. So in all the 5 rasas, Balram serves Krishna. Okay, so Mridanga is called the expansion of Balram. So Brihat Mridanga. When you play a Mridanga, only few people will hear. But Brihat Mridanga is a big Mridanga where everyone will hear. So the printing press or the books printing press are supposed to be Brihat Mridanga. So he used to print magazines almost every day. So everyone asks, why are you printing spiritual matters almost not every day, once in a week or something? How can you do it? And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, every day you have a newspaper which is showing all material news. So spiritual world is unlimited. The spiritual news is unlimited. Why can't I have a newspaper every minute, every second we can have, right? Not monthly. He was publishing monthly before. So with the passing away of his father in 1914, and his spiritual master in 1915, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati continued the mission of Lord Chaitanya. He established 64 Gaudiya Matha. Okay, so what happened? he took sannyas. We should not follow this, but he took sannyas from the picture of Gaura Kishwaradas Babaji, and he initiated himself into the sannyas order because he is a great Acharya. He's empowered. We should not do that. Okay. And then he started the Chaitanya Mat. If you go to Mayapur and all, you can see even in Vrindavan there's a Chaitanya Matha. It's a Matha is a place where deity worship takes place and a lot of devotees are there, association, all happens. And he also established the first Vaishnava monastery, Chaitanya Mat. And then later on, after that, he organized different yatras and all. In one of the yatra, he met our Guru, Srila Prabhupada, okay, was met there. And what happened? He was so determined to spread Krishna consciousness through his books. And that's why he could start 64 Gaudiya Math. And he's called Lion Guru. Lion Guru means lion is the king of the forest. So similarly, he was preaching was so strong that even Sahajiyas all had to move away. Who is Sahajiyas? Did anyone hear about Sahajiyas? Yes? Who are Sahajiyas? Any idea? No? Not heard about them, not seen. Okay. So Sahajiyas are, they are not following the relative principles. They don't have a guru. They're not following any sampradayas. They just dress up. They are men, but they dress up like gopis. They have a gopi dress and a dupatta and all, and gopi dots and all, and they tell they are gopis. But they don't chant the holy name. They don't study the scriptures. They don't have a guru. But whimsically, just like that, they say, oh, we are gopis. No, that's not the right type of worship. That's just causing disturbance in the society. They said, Shruti Smriti Purana di Pancharatrin Vidin Mina Ekantiki Hadir Bhakti Utpai Deyeva Kalpate. If you do not follow the scriptures and you alone you do bhakti, then it will just cause disturbance. Okay. So then, yeah, then he went to the house called Bhakti Vinoda Angan. That was the house where his father lived. And then he changed into Gaudiya Matha. And later, he moved to the large marble building in Bagh Bazaar, North Calcutta. So this is how he started the mission and started spreading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, then quick succession, after that spread the Gaudiya mission to attract different people to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And also he says, Pracharya se hetu prachar. Pran achayar se hetu prachar. Pran achayar means if you have life, you should preach. The person who's not preaching is a dead person. That's what he used to say. Pran achayar se hetu prachar. A person must have life to be a preacher. Dead man cannot preach. So in fact, we are all dead according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And how many rounds of japa did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati tell to his disciples? Does anyone know? How many rounds did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati tell his disciples to chant? Some of them in the Gaudiya Math are still chanting that rounds. Yes. Not Kushal Prabhu, no, not 32. Yeah, Vidhi Mataji. Can you just say it?
64 rounds, Mataji.
Yeah, 64. Can you imagine? He says, if you don't chant 64 rounds, you are considered fallen. 16 rounds itself is a big thing for us. That is a mercy from Prabhupada. Actually, what happened? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told 64 rounds. Okay, and they all were doing it. When Srila Prabhupada went to America, 64 rounds were like 8 hours of chanting, and it's impossible for the foreigners to do. So he said 32, and even that was like Prabhupada, and then he made 16. Okay, that's how it came to 16. So he said, Pran yachiyar se hetu prachar. If you have pran or if you have life, then you preach. The dead man cannot preach. And some sort of preachers who had gone to chant, speak, reported that no one had attended their meeting, but said, it doesn't matter, the 4 walls will hear it. Even if nobody comes to the class. Now, I have a friend, like we have at least so many devotees in our class, 30 plus 30. So for one of my friend, nobody goes to the class sometimes, and there's no one there, and it's only the speaker. Still, that devotee takes class. And I was shocked to know that. But then that devotee was speaking to the 4 walls, because even insects and everything is there in the room which can hear. They are also spirit soul, right? So these are all transcendental subject matter. Even if nobody comes, he says, preach to the 4 walls. When Prabhupada used to preach in America, hardly 2 or 3 will come. But Prabhupada used to preach. Even if nobody comes, Prabhupada close the eyes and start preaching. I still remember he was recording the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. If you could hear the tape of Srila Prabhupada speaking, yesterday I was hearing introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is. And that day when Prabhupada was recording, nobody came to hear the lecture, but he was recording. And after that, millions of people heard that recording. So it is very important to preach. He says, if pranya chayar, say hita prachar, you have to preach if you are living. Preaching doesn't mean, oh, having an online Zoom session and many coming. No, you can preach to your friends, you can preach to your family, you can preach to yourself, you can preach to your dear and near ones. No, just chant Hare Krishna and all the philosophy you can preach. Those who are pious and who can hear you. So he says, don't be disappointed, go on chanting. And in commencement of the fact that some of the disciples have fallen away, he says some of the soldiers will die, so it doesn't matter. At that time of his passing from this world, he had opened 64 Gaudiya Math. It's not easy for propagation of spiritual life. Before I forget, I'll say Bhakti Saraswati have written a book called Manashiksha. Not Manashiksha. Written a book called Vaishnav K. Vaishnav K means, oh, mind, you are also a Vaishnava. So in that Vaishnav K book, he says a lot of things about the mind. So one instruction it struck me is, he says, when you get up in the morning, you beat your mind with a shoe. And when you go to sleep, you take a broom and sweep the mind. So that means, what does that mean? Can someone explain? What about Bhakti Saraswati say by beating your mind with the shoe? Not literally. And then when you go to sleep, take a broom and sweep the mind. What does that mean? Yes?
Mataji, does it mean that chanting cleanses the mind and it brings the mind under your control?
Yes, but then when you wake up, what did he mean by beating your mind with the shoe? What does that mean? Yes, you go
Because our
chanting.
monkey mind never allow us to chant. So we
Mind
resist
will
our
not
mind.
allow us to chant, so you should bring it to control.
There are 16 tussles between the mind.
So when you're about to sleep, then what to do? Whatever negative things, whatever happened on that day, just wipe it out from your mind. So that's what it is saying. Morning, beat your mind in the sense, when the mind become lazy, just beat it and say, no, you have to be strict. You have to chant. Tomorrow is Ekadashi, by the way. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. I have to do more rounds. I have to take Ekadashi. But the mind will say, no, do that, do this. No. It's very cold. Sleep under the blanket. Why are you getting up at Brahma Muhurta at 4 o'clock, 4:30? No, the mind will keep chattering. And then you just beat or say, no, I have to be strict in my spiritual life. Then what will happen? When you're about to sleep, so many things would have happened on that day. Some negative things, positive things, everything should be just wiped out with a broom. That's what he says. Then he established Archa Vigraha, the deity forms of worship of the Lord. And this deity worship was executed according to principles of Sanatana Goswami's book, Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas. So you go to any of these temples, you see how elaborate the deity worship is. And you'll be surprised to see, especially in ISKCON Vrindavan, did you see Mayapur? So much of flowers, decoration, and Radharani and Krishna looks so beautiful. So many garments and ornaments, and such an elaborate deity worship we have never seen anywhere. So that's the standard kept by Bhakti Saraswati. And this was the day which changed Abhay Charan's life. So he met Abhay Charan Deyar, Srila Prabhupada in 1922, and then he got the instructions. Then after that, so Bhakti Saraswati, ISKCON Vrindavan is mesmerizing. Why? Because there are 24 hours kirtan happening in ISKCON Vrindavan. There's no other part in the world, if you go, you'll see the 24 hours kirtan. I don't know whether they started somewhere else, but in Vrindavan, and it was started by, who started the 24 hours kirtan in Vrindavan? Does anyone know?
Shripad Aindra Prabhu Mataji.
Indra Prabhu.
Yes. Shripad Aindra Das Prabhu ki jai. His kirtans are amazing. You should listen to the kirtan. He is the one who Prabhupada, one of the disciples, had a dream that Prabhupada was sad that there's no 24 hours kirtan happening in Vrindavan. And that devotee went and said to Aindra Das Prabhu, and he was like, I'm going to do this. And he threw his passport in Yamuna. I think I shared the story. And then he started sitting in one tile in Vrindavan, 24 years, 24 hours kirtan. So that was done by 24 years. And he's such a great soul that Yeah. So yes, so that 24 hours Kirtan, because the Gologara Premadan Harinam Sankirtan is not a music of this world, it is from the spiritual world. So definitely the transcendental vibration is happening. So 24 hours Kirtan is going on. Definitely there's a positive vibe, and it's Vrindavan, it's not a material place. So definitely you can see Radha Shyam Sundar so beautifully decorated by the devotees. And especially if you go to the Kartik month in Vrindavan, I was so fortunate to be 1 month in Kartik. I was in Vrindavan, so very lovely to be in Vrindavan. It's a little cold, but then the whole Yamuna will be with diyas, lighting lamps, and the whole Vrindavan will be with full of devotees, and it's a different vibration in ISKCON temple in Vrindavan at that time. So you all should at least once in your lifetime visit Vrindavan. ISKCON Krishna Balram temple, and also visit Prabhupada's house just behind the temple, where you can see all Prabhupada's museum and everything. So then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was dedicated into using the printing press as the best medium for Krishna conscious deliverance. That's why he said Brihat Mritanga means big Mritanga. If you just play the big Mritanga, the whole world can hear, right? So we should always spread Krishna consciousness through books. And then he had many disciples, and he wanted to spread Krishna consciousness abroad. He had Brahmanas, sannyasis, and everyone. He used to give Brahman thread to non-Brahmanas, in the sense somebody who's a Shudra also, and people didn't like it. People started throwing stones at Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, but he was not in for caste Brahmanism. Okay, so he was like, no, he gives anybody who's elevated to the quality. Brahmajana the Brahmana, who becomes a Brahmana, gives a Brahmana thread, and he doesn't care of anything else except their spiritual things. So, so because of that, many were against Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Okay, so caste Brahmanas were very much annoyed by that, because they are supposed to get that position, and anybody can become a Brahmana. How can this happen? So they started creating a lot of issues. And then what happened? The Nityananda Vamshas especially plotted to assassinate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and they also went to the local police magistrate to bribe them so that he wouldn't apprehend them from the murder. The police magistrate told them that although usually he accepts bribes, he could not be connected to killing a sadhu because he's a holy man. And police magistrate then immediately informed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and this way his life was saved. He actually was shifted from that place. Okay, and his disciple Bhakti Prajna Tirtha Maharaj, he actually helped him. So he was such a powerful and a bold preacher that he's called as a lion guru. Like nobody can stay in front of him. And when his disciples went abroad and they said, these rules have to be changed, these 4 regulative principles, nobody will follow in America, you have to change. So Bhaktisiddhanta says, like, you are instructing your guru. So I'm not a guru, I'm a guru. Guru means a bull. But then Bhaktisiddhanta says, so they never came back. But then when he looked at everyone and he said, nobody could preach abroad, then his eyes went to Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he said, one man will do it. So he knew that Prabhupada will do it. And sometimes on the walks in the early morning, he would come across some big Mayavadis, impersonalists, sannyasis, and would physically grab him and shake him while verbally chastising him. So Mayavadis never will take a turn. I mean, they just flee out of fear. One time, a big impersonalist Vedanta society in Calcutta invited him to a debate on the condition that he could not use Srimad Bhagavatam as a scriptural evidence. So he agreed to come to the debate. And after a short time, they called him again and said he could not speak on Ramayana, Mahabharata, or the Puranas. He also agreed to come on those conditions. Thus, they called him and said he would not use any evidence of any Vedas, Upanishads, and Smritis, but could speak only from the Vedanta Sutra. So he agreed to do that. And then they called him up and said that he could not come at all. He could not come because he was scared of a lion guru. And you can see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used all, those days, this Jeep and all these vehicles were not used by everyone. But he used it, even though he was a sannyasi, he used such vehicles to spread Krishna consciousness, so that people will come to see this car and Jeep and all, and then he used to spread Krishna consciousness. So anything can be used in Krishna service. It's called Yukta Vairagya, that was taught by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So in 1930 and 31, new kind of spiritual education was given by him, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati demonstrated the important teachings of the Vedic literature by exhibition and pictorial representations, and all that was done. Exhibitions were done. And also he spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. Okay, and he sent some of his disciples in England to preach, but then they were not successful, right? They were not able to convince the Westerners to take up spiritual life, and in fact, they fell down. So fortunately, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's most beloved disciple is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Why do we say so? Most beloved? Because he carried out his order, Guru Maharaj's order, to spread Krishna consciousness in the West and to print books. So since our Prabhupada have done this, even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is called Prabhupada. Prabhupada is not someone's name, it's a position actually. Prabhu means God and Pada is a position, okay? So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati liked to make his disciples all into sannyasi, but one day one of his sannyas disciples was forcibly dragged away by his wife. So in tears, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati lamented. He was unable to save the soul. That's what he says. Oh, I was unable to save that soul, right? So he told that if I want to have Krishna conscious child, I can have a relationship like 100 times, no problem. But then if it is a Krishna conscious children, for to have Krishna conscious child, he was ready for that sense gratification also. He would also send his brahmacharis out to sell the Gaudiya Math magazines and books. And if somebody could sell, he says, oh, you're so nice, you could sell my books. And he was very happy. And if somebody could not do it, and he is like, that's okay. And then he would count how many times they would have used Krishna or Chaitanya that is used in essays. And then he'll say, that's all right, that can be used. If somebody wants to publish the book, they'll ask Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, can we publish this book? So he'll say, how many times did they use the word Krishna? How many times did they quote the Hare Krishna mantra? Yes, you can use, you can publish the book, because that's very important that they use Krishna word. But he did not want his disciples to lead an easygoing life, right? Something like ease loving, should they try to attempt to practice austerities in seclusion. So it's like only with the help of devotee association can we do devotional service. And he would sing a song of his own composition, Dushta Mana Tumi Kishe Vaishnava. So there's a song, Dushtaman Tumi Kishe Vaishnava. So Dushtaman, the mind is very dushta, cruel. And how can you be a Vaishnava? My dear mind, what kind of Vaishnava are you? You're chanting Hare Krishna in a solitary place, imitating great saints Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami. But your meditation is actually to think of women and money. Your mind is filled with such dirty things. So your bhajan is simply cheating. So this is to the mind, not to anyone else. He writes a book. And when you read that book, you feel, oh, it's me. Therefore, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati never liked to open a branch of Gaudiya Math in a place that was not very much populated. So you always see that there's a lot of devotee association happening. So this is a temple, the Prabhupada Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur. He's the founder of Gaudiya Math, okay, Samadhi temple. So that's in Mayapur. So in 37, he ended his pastime, and he had been spending his last days reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and chanting with his beads. And when a doctor visited him, wanting to give him an injection, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati said, why are you disturbing me in this way? Simply chant Hare Krishna, that's all. So, he knows he's not this body, his spirit soul. And yes, it is said, a doctor and a medicine cannot save a patient. Why do I say so? Really? Does anyone disagree with me? A doctor and a patient, medicine and medicines cannot save a patient. True or not? Everybody is sleeping. Yes, Mataji, Prafula Mataji.
True, Mataji. Actually, without Krishna's blessings, no
Yes.
one will save.
Definitely. Because even if you take that patient to the best of the hospitals in America or wherever, give the best treatment, still that patient might die. But even if you don't care and he's in a government hospital, still he's very critical. But if Krishna wants him to live, that person will survive. No, recently my friend met with an accident. So if anybody sees the car, it will be like crushed, completely crushed. But it's Krishna's mercy that they protected her. She just had some minor fractures and stitches, but then it's saved. So just seeing that, like Krishna protected. No doctors, no medicines can protect that person. It's Krishna. Rake Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna rake ke. If Krishna want to protect you, nobody can touch you. nobody can kill you. Like Prahlad Maharaj, Krishna protected. And if Krishna wants to kill you, nobody can protect you, like Hiranyakashipu that Narasimhadev killed. Right? So it's Krishna who's actually taking care. And it is also said, parents are not the real caretaker of the kids, of the children. Really, we say, no, we are taking care. Right? You are taking care. But then when you, yes, so you're taking care, but when they go to college, school, then who is actually taking care of them, right? It's Krishna. Okay, so then during his last words, he wrote to his disciples, I advise all to preach the teachings of Rupa Raghunatha, disciple of Lord Chaitanya, with all energy and resources. Our ultimate goal shall be to become the dust of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath Goswami. We should all work conjointly under the guidance of his spiritual master with a view to serve the absolute knowledge, the personality of Krishna. You should live somehow or other without any quarrel in this mortal world, only for the service of the Godhead. So this is the instructions for us. He says we should not quarrel, we should associate with devotees and cooperate. Okay, and do not please give up the service of Godhead. We should not give up devotional service in spite of all dangers. Now, some of you in your friends and family might say, don't chant Hare Krishna, don't do this, don't do that. But still, you should not give up the service to Godhead. All criticism, many will criticize you. Arey, you became Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. What happened to you? Are you mad? Crazy? That's okay. Don't listen to them. Please don't give up the service of Godhead in spite of all dangers, circumstances, and discomfort. Do not be disappointed. For most people in the world do not serve the personality of Godhead. Do not give up your own service, which is your everything and all. The chanting is everything for you. So please don't give up. That's what he's saying. Neither reject the process of chanting and hearing of the transcendental holy name of Godhead. You should always chant the transcendental name of Godhead with patience and forbearance like a tree and humbleness like a straw. Pranatapi suniche nataro rapi sakishtana amani namanadena kirtaniya sada. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Srishnachkata. There are many amongst you who are well qualified and able workers. We have no other desires whatsoever. So he says you have to cooperate, and he says ISKCON cannot be broken from outside because we all are together. But then ISKCON can be broken from inside. That is, from inside there can be a lot of problems, or within devotees there can be quarrel and misunderstanding. So Bhakti Saraswati gave us a warning that we should be cooperatively working and we should not fight. Okay, so that's his last advice. So we should always work together conjointly to spread Krishna consciousness movement. What Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati gave us, we should take it forward, like Srila Prabhupada took it forward, right? So we should be always grateful that we have to be loyal to the Acharyas and the Guru Paramparas. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rita Mataji, what's your question? Why do we say, had doctor come in time, we could have saved him? Oh, okay. Why do they say that? Oh, he should have come on time, we could have saved him. That's just to cover up things. They say, it always they say like, oh, you should have brought the patients at least 10 minutes before, we could have saved him. No, if Krishna wants that delay and that soul to be to go from that body, of the karma is over for that particular soul, definitely he has to leave. They say so because they don't know this philosophy that it's the Lord who is deciding. But then why do they say, when we take any patient to the operation theater, why do they say, we have done our best, rest is in God's hands, or the Lord has to take care of it, right? And most of the surgeons, they pray before they start the surgery because they're asking for the mercy from the Lord. So definitely it's Krishna who's sanctioning, and our lifespan and everything based on karma, different things happen. But people out of ignorance, they say, I saved the patient, I saved the patient. That is just Sometimes it's not accepted. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.